Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mercules here again, and I'm bringing you an exotic review, this time of Telesto, also known as the Besto, better than the Resto. It is a void fusion rifle, and it has the exotic perk that makes its bolts actually stick to targets and then detonate after a short delay. So first things first, it's been out for quite a while, but I haven't seen a lot of it in competitive Crucible. I haven't seen a lot of it, and even really the normal Crucible. It's a pretty popular weapon in terms of PvE, but I want to be talking more specifically today about the PvP side of things. Stats wise, it is part of the low impact fast charge rate archetype. It does take 5 bolts to kill, so it's not the very, very low impact type that takes 6 bolts to kill. But the bolts actually only do 5 damage when they first impact the target, and then after a short delay, they detonate and do another 37 damage after that. It has very, very high base stability at 82 base stability and not great range. The range is 35 by default, so it's not fantastic, but it is okay. It's not as low as it possibly could be. The mag size is only 4, but that's not really a big deal. And the aim assist is also pretty low at around 40, which isn't great for fusion rifles. For its perks, because it does have such high stability, and there was recently a buff to fusion rifles that actually made the stability higher by default anyways, I have started using smooth ballistics as my perk of choice. It gives an increase to aim assist, it gives an increase to range, and I thought that those were the two most important things as opposed to just a little bit more stability when it really doesn't need it at this point anymore. The next perk is Battle Runner, which is nice. It's you get a kill and it gives you increased ability for a short time. And I thought that paired really, really well with Lightweight in the middle tree. The other two perk options were Enhanced Battery and Flared Magwell, and I just didn't really see either of those two things as doing a lot for me when Lightweight went so well with the run and gun playstyle that I found worked best with this weapon. The very last perk is not really that helpful for PvP. It is called a Harbinger Spark, and all it does is give you an orb, basically, if you get a multi-kill. You give your teammates an orb if you get a multi-kill. If you get a lot of multi-kills, it might be a small help to your teammates, but like I said, that's more of a PvP-focused perk. In the Crucible, I originally made the mistake of trying to use Telesto like I would any other fusion rifle, where you charge it up and you try to land all the bolts. And the fact of the matter is, because there is a delay in the bolt detonation time, I just didn't find it to be that useful when used like a normal fusion rifle. I would constantly hit people with the bolts, and then I would die, and they might die afterwards. It might result in a trade, but in general, I just found myself getting a lot of deaths and not that many fantastic kills with it, and I didn't really think it was that fun. But after a little while, I realized that I really needed to be using the perks that it comes with to my advantage. And what I mean by that is the explosive bolts, I needed to use them better, and the perk synergy between Battle Runner and Lightweight, and any of the subclasses that can be very, very mobile. I really liked using it with my Night Stalker Hunter with Shade Step and High Agility, but I also think that a Twilight Garrison Titan Skating player could do very, very well with it if they were to put it to good use. Um, I liked to use the explosive bolts to pepper the ground before people would run out around a corner. I like to use them to shoot at walls that people were hiding behind. I like to use them to just fire blindly into the room. And basically, I started using the explosive bolts like tiny little grenades for the most part. I just would shoot a bunch of grenades into a room and do a bunch of damage to people. Sometimes I'd get a kill, sometimes I'd get some assist. Um, but basically, I stopped looking at them like fusion rifle bolts, and I started looking at the Telesto like a small grenade launcher. And you can see in a bunch of the clips that I have here that a lot of the kills I get with Telesto aren't even direct hits at all. It makes it really, really nice actually because you don't need to be as accurate as you would need to be with other fusion rifles. You can actually miss with the initial bolts, and because the blast radius is pretty sizable on the Telesto, you end up still getting the kill, you end up still hurting someone, and you'll find that you're getting a lot of collaterals too, where a teammate gets shot and runs next to, or an opponent gets shot and runs next to his teammates and then detonates and does damage to them as well. As far as that's going, it will, look, point blank, it's going to take some getting used to deal with the bolt delay. It is not the easiest weapon in terms of shooting someone and then they just die. Well, they don't just die. You shoot someone and they still have time to kill you afterwards. So you're really, really going to need to learn when you have to disengage from a target after you've even hit them and you'd expect them to be dead. It took me a little while before I started to get the timing down pat, where I could shoot a target and then run away and they might still be alive for a small, brief period of time after that. But again, Twilight Garrison, the evade ability is a huge bonus for this. Night Stalkers, Shade Step ability is a huge bonus for this. Anything where you can shoot them and then get away from them while you wait for them to die, or shift yourself to a new vantage point after you've hit them with the bolt. So you can come up in a doorway, fire a bunch of bolts into a room, go to a different area, shoot through a different doorway, fire some more bolts, and basically because you're going to be moving so fast with a combination of lightweight and battle runner if you pick up any kills, high agility, your evade movements, that you'll be able to just do some absolute damage with this thing. Cosmetically, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous weapon. It is beautiful. I love the look of it, the sleek lines. It's like really polished contour. It has this very distinctive like snap crackle pop sound when the bolts are exploding that every single person can hear and knows when you're getting shot or someone else is shooting one of these weapons. And I started noticing in my games that players were actually switching to the Telesto after I was using the Telesto. So I would use it, I would kill someone, and then they would switch to the Telesto and start playing with it. Or people on my team would start switching to Telesto after they saw it pop up in the kill feed and stuff like that, which I thought was really, really funny. So in conclusion, a little too long, didn't watch for you guys. The good is explosive bolts basically make it into a small grenade launcher, and it has really, really fantastic perk synergy, especially when coupled with a few of the subclasses out there that have great agility or great movement speeds. You don't have to be as accurate as you would with a normal fusion rifle because the explosive bolts do give you a little bit of a blast radius. And the bad, moving on to that, it would be the delay between bolts is definitely something that you have to get used to. And it's kind of weird to play with at first. And it'll kind of make you think that it's not that great of a gun. Why do you want to shoot someone with a gun that doesn't kill them instantly, right? So that was something that I did struggle with at first. Again, you can't really use it like a normal fusion rifle. And a couple other bad things about it, it doesn't have the greatest range, so you're not really going to be super accurate outside of close quarters. You're not going to be directly hitting people, but again, you don't need to be that accurate. So I found it to be not that bad. And then the third thing isn't really specific to the Telesto. It's kind of something that has to do with all fusion rifles, but they're very dependent on connection quality because they're non-hit scan weapons. Because they're actually having a travel time for each bolt. If you have a bad connection or someone in the game has a bad connection, you can kind of get screwed over by bolts disappearing and stuff like that. And I actually have a clip in here where I hit someone with a bunch of the bolts and it just doesn't do any damage because the person was red barring at the time. Conclusion, it's definitely one of the most fun weapons overall that I've ever done a review of. I highly recommend trying it out. You just have to learn the playstyle and the advantages of the gun, and then you can basically literally have a blast launching dozens of tiny grenades all across the map. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye.